Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tori if you're new here, and today I'm coming to you from my husband's car. I'm gonna take you to the store with me. I'm going to Natural Grocers, and not everyone has this. Sometimes it's called a vitamin cottage, but the thing about this store is it has a lot of herbs in bulk that I like to stock up on for medicinal purposes. So I'm gonna take you along with me. I think every single person, no matter who you are, should have this in their little arsenal at home. You can make it into a apothecary if you want. You could even grow these in the garden, but I love Natural Grocers because they have these kinds of things available. If you don't have these available, definitely check out a online apothecary. Amazon also carries a lot of these items, or maybe you have something in your town similar to this. I would look up natural medicine or something like that. So I wanted to change it up on you a little bit, stop talking about food and supplies and go more medical with this, go more medicinal. So if you are new here, hi, hello, my name is Tori. We make videos 3 to 4 times a week all about life here in Northern Colorado. We like to be prepared on a budget. I am inspired by my own mom to do this kind of thing. So what I like to say is I'm here to be a prepared mom. So if there's anyone else in the crowd that is doing this for their family, I would love to hear your story. I would love to know you a little bit more if you feel comfortable introducing yourself. But the plan is to be prepared, not scared. And we take prepping in a sensible approach. I think especially recently that has not been a thing. We try and be calm about it. We understand that we're not doing everything right, but some basic necessities will always be helpful to you in the event of an emergency. So if you like that kind of thing, of course, we would love it if you hit that subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, and I am going to head to the store. I don't know if I can film in the store. I will see. I'm kind of shy about that, but regardless, you will see me at home and I will show you what I have in my little stockpile apothecary. Yay, we got a bunch of stuff. I cannot wait to show you. I'm going to show you the whole haul. I know it was supposed to be a top 5, but we found a bunch. This Natural Grocers is actually closer to me, and they just have such a great inventory, and they have really great employees. They're just so knowledgeable. So yay, I will show you when I get home. All right, I am back from the store. It was very packed, so I did have confidence to go in there and start filming, but it just wouldn't have been fair to others because they would have been in a film and I didn't have their permission. So I did not film in the store, but I'm going to insert some photos of different places I like to look when I'm thinking of medicinal uses and the herbs that I find and the flowers. So I will say, if you're new to this, there are many ways to ingest these herbs and flowers. You could make them into a tea, into a balm, into a tincture, but I mean, those are the 3 main ones. You can also cook with a lot of these and you won't get the full use of the herb if you do that, but you can still reap the benefits just in a lower dose. So I did want to say this. I have plenty of videos on this. My background is not as an herbalist, but I have learned enough along the way to kind of navigate what works for my body and what works for my family's body. This is all going to be what works for you. I am in no way, shape, or form a doctor, so that is my little disclaimer. I just want to share with you some natural ways to help with some of these ailments and diseases. So I've written down some benefits of each herb or flower, and I have here my favorite way of using them and how I use them. So we are going to go through this here. I do have 2 things that I did want to start with that are kind of non-herb related. And the first one is water. So the Rocky Mountain spring water is at Natural Grocers and it's in this aluminum. So I think it's awesome to have on hand instead of plastic, and I think they would store more longer term. This is a little bit more expensive. You know, it's $2.49, and I can't go and pick up a case of this every week, but it is something to think about when you're storing water. So again, big shout out to Dawn. She kind of put me onto this. Thanks, Dawn. But I know there's a lot of different places that you can find spring water like this. So I have this in here, and then I do get a lot of my tinctures that I don't make. This is from Wish Garden Herbs, and this is After Ease. Let me get out of it. I think it will focus if I'm not in this. Let's see. There it is. There it is. So the After Ease for pregnancy is really helpful for after birth contractions, and that happens, you know, it could happen immediately, it could happen in a day, but most of my contractions are triggered by breastfeeding. I don't know if that's too much information for this channel, but I'm just letting you know that they have these at an affordable price. This is made in Boulder, Colorado, but you can find them just about anywhere, and it helps with a lot of feminine issues you may have, but they really focus on postpartum and pregnancy, but they have a lot in their arsenal here, and it's just a good company. So I really enjoy them, but in here are cramp bark, black haw bark, yarrow aerials, and motherwort. So, I mean, motherwort and yarrow, just motherwort and yarrow are two that I grow in the garden. So I've never tried to make this, but it would be interesting to know if you could take those supplements separately. So this is incredible. It's a powerhouse. I definitely would suggest doing that. And then the other thing that I like to, I have two more bonuses here. The other two things that I like to get at Natural Grocers are the Redmond's Real Salt. And what I do is put that, just a pinch of it in my water in the morning with some lemon and some filtered water. And what that salt does is add back some of the minerals that you're lost when you're filtering. And it's kind of like an adrenal cocktail. So it's really helpful. I love Redmond's Real Salt, and I do like to store it. This is very inexpensive at Natural Grocers, and I will say that with a lot of these, they are under $4 to just get this big thing, and a lot of them come in an organic variety, which is great. You can transfer them from the plastic and put them into something else, but I find that it's easy to just grab from the bag. But typically when I'm doing my herbs, I can just put them in a glass container. I get all of my apothecary glass containers from Hobby Lobby when they're on sale, or I get them from the thrift store, and that's how I store them, with a label and the date that I got them. Although a lot of these herbs store indefinitely or until I use them up. So after that, we are getting into my favorite, and that is the Blueberry Wild Child tea. I absolutely love this, and it does have elderberry in here, and everything is dried. So you wanna make sure you put this into some boiling water, but this is a really great tea. I like to drink this when I'm feeling particularly anxious, or maybe a sickness is coming on. I find that this really helps. So if you can get your hands on the Blueberry Wild Child tea, definitely get your hands on it, and I will tell you what's in it. There's apple, hibiscus, elderberries, rose hips, and it kind of gives this blueberry, pomegranate, pineapple flavoring. So it's really tasty if you like tea. If you're not into tea, that's cool too. So I'm going to move on to what's in my bag here, and I'll show you each item. Hopefully it will focus, but a lot of these you might already know of. You might grow in your garden, or you might be able to find them in different places at even your grocery store. So I would definitely look out for these. This first one is Thyme leaf, and I do grow this in the garden. I just like this because they chop it down really fine and they dry it. And thyme is antimicrobial, it's antiseptic. I like to add mine to a homemade balm and put it on cuts and scrapes for the kids. It just adds a soothing effect to it. And then sometimes I like to drink it in a tea. It definitely has some immune support, and it definitely is a disinfectant. So that's a great one for any cuts or scrapes that you may have. Definitely wash it out before you lather that balm on. But I love having it on hand to cook with as well. But thyme is great to have in a tea too. The next one is Nettle Leaf, stinging nettle leaf. And I use mine for muscle and joint relief. So if I'm having an issue, I have osteochondritis dissecans in my knees, and it's just like an early onset arthritis, essentially. I mean, there's more to it, but whenever I'm feeling that achiness in my knees, and that's typically when the weather's changing or when it rains. I know that sounds strange, but a lot of us experience that here on the channel, I've been told. So what I do is put that into the balm, and it does give that tingly cooling effect for me. It depends on your body and you know, just about every element about your lifestyle, but Nettle Leaf is great to have when it comes to that. But I also use it in a tea form. I'm just reading off of how I use it here. It's easier for me to write things down if you see me looking down. So it does restore the elasticity of your blood vessels, and it lowers your blood pressure. So this might be good for some of you out there. It also draws out toxins, and it's an anti-inflammatory. So this would be a good one to put in a bath tea with some Epsom salt and maybe some bentonite clay. And then you just kind of put that in a tea bag and let it steep, and you just sit in the hot bath, and this will draw out toxins. So this is a good one if you're just like not feeling well in the stomach region. I find that this does draw out a lot of those toxins. Next on the list is good old turmeric. I've heard it called a bunch of different things. I don't know. I don't know what I call it. I go through all three of those, but this is great. It's a mood enhancer. Good for arthritis. It's good for digestive disorders, for reducing inflammation. I find that it really helps with seasonal allergies, and it does neutralize free radicals in the body. So that's something to think about. Typically you can find turmeric capsules anywhere. I really do like to cook with it, and I find that that really helps. You could drink it in a glass of water if you want. I've seen people brush their teeth with this, and it says it has a whitening ability. Let me know if you've ever done that. I don't want to give it a try, but I'm sure it's worked for somebody. Again, you can find this anywhere. You can even grow it. I've grown it once. It didn't really yield much for me, and I found that it was a pretty demanding plant. You had to keep up with it constantly. It's not something that you kind of set and forget. So I really enjoy it. It's very inexpensive, and it can do wonders for you. So you can sprinkle it in your tea if you want. I will say it is very staining, so you need to be careful with that. If you have kids and you want to try out some natural dyes, this turmeric makes this beautiful yellow ochre color, and I really enjoy using it for that. It's also good in just some hot black tea when you're not feeling your best self. Next up is Eucalyptus Leaf, and I was going to save this for last because there is a warning with this. You can't just take some eucalyptus that you grow in the garden and eat the leaves. It's very toxic. It's toxic for animals, toxic for humans, but in dried form, it is okay. So medicinally, this is great, but I like to use it in soaps and things like that. That's typically what I'm using it for. It does treat respiratory illnesses, so tea bath with peppermint. I put this in a reusable tea bag with dried peppermint, and I steep it in my kids' bath, and it really helps kind of not flush them out, but it allows them to, I guess, just get all that gunk out when they're feeling nasally or coughy. So this helps a lot with seasonal allergies, especially out here in Colorado. And I do use it as a balm for insect bites. And I also put peppermint oil in that. I find that it definitely leaves that cooling effect. I did forget to mention that you could use a lot of these in oil form. You just have to infuse the oil, so it may take longer to use these, if that makes sense, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't keep them on hand. So again, eucalyptus is great. Typically I'm using it for more topical things like soaps, balms, shampoos, just because it has that beautiful aroma, but it is great for respiratory illness as well. And get this big bag, and this one's under $2, so this is great to have. Again, you cannot use the fresh leaves to consume. It's very toxic, so please don't do that. Next up is lemongrass. We've talked about lemon balm before, and they do have that there. I like to grow lemon balm. It's very easy to grow, and I just get more bang for my buck when I grow it. But lemongrass really helps with nervous disorders and stomach problems. I do this in tea form, and sometimes I like to eat it in curry. I find that this really does help. If I'm having a stomach problem, I'm not gonna eat curry or anything, but maybe I'm just feeling a bit anxious. I add a little bit extra lemon balm into my curry, and it does help. And you can even infuse your coconut milk with the lemongrass overnight, and then I add that to the curry, and it's really helpful as well. I will say, when it comes to infusing different items in the kitchen, it's something that I absolutely love to do. So don't let that thought kind of be forgotten in your mind. These don't have to be used medicinally. If you are just a touch afraid of herbal remedies, please remember that you can cook with a lot of these. So lemon balm has a very strong flavor, I will say, and it does boost your oral health as well. So that's a good one. And it lowers cholesterol. So I always get questions like that on this channel. How can I lower my cholesterol? Lemongrass in tea form would be great for you. Again, I use reusable just tea. They're just metal mesh things that you steep in your tea, but you can find lemongrass in tea bag form already done for you, or if you have a natural grocers, you can fill your own tea bags. So I would just be careful with certain tea bags. A lot of them aren't made with natural fibers, so you have to think about pouring boiling water on there, and I don't know, whatever is in that tea bag, chlorine or something like that, could be leaching into your drink. So that's another thing to think about. I wouldn't go completely crazy about that. All right, and then last but not least is gonna be fenugreek seed. And for me, I like to use this for breast milk production. I'm not gonna talk your ear off about this, but it is great for diabetics as well. I do have some people that are close to me that suffer from diabetes, so I'm always trying to keep things in my prepper pantry and apothecary that could help with that. So fenugreek is great. It does lower blood sugar, and a lot of people ask how I consume the seed. I soak it overnight, and then I like to put mine, for breast milk production, I like to put mine in oatmeal, because this does have a maple syrup flavor to it, in my opinion, and it does kind of leak out your pores, so you might smell like maple syrup as well, but not everybody gets that aroma from it. So fenugreek seed, again, is great to have. I do like to put it in my lactation cookies as well. So that has brewer's yeast, some chocolate chips, oats, it has cinnamon in there, and it has these fenugreek seeds, and it's great. Even if you're baking with it, you're still getting that medicinal benefit. So it's something to keep in the back of your mind. But if you're a diabetic and you're attempting to not cure, but aid in this naturally, this would be a great one to have on hand. Some people can't really stomach the seed overnight because it's too bitter, so I do suggest adding it to something that you're eating, or just downing it in a glass of water, and I find that that really helps as well. Alrighty, my friends, that is gonna do it. I know this was a lot of information in one video. Again, this is just my list here. There are so many other things that you can get at these natural food stores. Drop down in the comments if you have a natural grocers and some of your favorite things that you like to get from there, or maybe you have a local apothecary and you want to share some herbs or flowers that you enjoy purchasing, or you could tell us what you like to grow in your garden. I always like having my apothecary garden. It just gives me a sense of security when it comes to caring for myself or my family medicinally. I've said it in the past, I have many people in my family that work in healthcare, so I have nothing against any of those treatments, but I do like to try and heal my body naturally. So if you're anything like me, go ahead and check out that list. Let me know in the comments below what you want to see next. I'm filming a ton because if you were caught up on the videos on my other channel, this baby may be coming a little sooner than expected. So let me know in the comments what you want to see next. As always, stay adventurous, stay creative, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye, y'all.